with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus came into the district of Judea and across the Jordan. Again, crowds gathered around him, and as was his custom, he again taught them. The Pharisees approached him and asked, "Is it lawful for a husband to divorce his wife?" They were testing him. He said to them in reply, "What did Moses command you?" They replied, "Moses permitted a husband to write a bill of divorce and dismiss her." But Jesus told them, "Because of the hardness of your heart, he wrote you this commandment. But from the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, no human being must separate." In the house, the disciples again questioned Jesus about this. He said to them, "Whoever divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery against her. And if she divorces her husband and marries another, she commits adultery." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
First off, let me say I know absolutely nothing about marriage, but I know this marriage is hard work. And I would say the difference between hell and heaven is being in a good marriage and being in a bad marriage. So if you're in a good marriage, be happy and keep working on it. And marriage is always a work in progress. And in Jesus' time, a man could divorce his wife, but a wife could not divorce her husband. So Jesus put them on a par. And he's saying, we need to do what God intended from the beginning. And, he talks about the hardness of heart. I think that's the key. Hardness of heart. If a person has a loving heart towards their spouse, that's the key. I know many people who have told me that if they had to live their lives over again, they wouldn't have got a divorce. No one wants people to live in an abusive relationship. And there are different circumstances. And some of the finest people I know are divorced. And they did the right thing by getting out of the relationship. But sometimes maybe they're looking for heaven on earth, and maybe that doesn't always happen. They can get into the fantasy world rather than the real world, because the real world is hard work, forgiveness, bearing with one another, forgiving. Relationships are tough, and the marriage relationship is especially tough. So that's what I want to say about that. So if you're married, keep working on your relationship and keep trying. Don't give up on it if you can at all. But don't stay in an abusive relationship. And the other thing I want to say, before Pope Francis, it was very hard to get an annulment in the church. And we lost so many Catholics because they tried, maybe got turned down for an annulment, and they went off and joined other churches. Thank God now it's so easy to get annulments by comparison to before. It still takes about 6 months, but back in the day it used to take about 6 years. So if you know of anyone needing an annulment, send them my way. I'll be glad to work with them, because it's very important that people get back to the sacraments, back to the Eucharist, and have God's blessing in their marriage. And it's very important for married people, if you can at all, pray together as a couple and respect each other and bring out the best in each other. Bear with one another. That's the key. Hardness of heart. There's no place for hardness of heart in a marriage relationship. Amen?
Amen.